Hey everyone, happy Thursday. Shaman Armstrong here, your host, and I'm gonna introduce y'all to my co-host, aka my dad. How you doing today, Dad?
Hey, I'm above ground, so it's a good day. J.R. Stewart here, co-host of Speaking Facts in 15. It'll probably be a little bit of an ish day, but it's
Yeah,
all good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Look at I had a little time out in the sun. My son, your grandson, had a showcase today at a TCU, and so he did really good. He ran his I guess they call it the 60, but he did it in like 6.8. So he had a great time, and he did well fielding and catching. So pretty good. His
Oh,
game
okay.
tomorrow's at 3:30, so I think I'm gonna start drinking water today, so I'll be hydrated for
Hydrated for
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. And
Oh
remind
my,
me of that I'm gonna try to see if I can't get out there. No,
yeah,
that's right. I
yes.
got somebody coming to switch out my old washing machine because it died, and I can't dry clothes to the laundromat. But
But if you put them outside, they'll dry really quick. You can also bake a cake out there, fry an
yeah,
egg. You can do anything you want
my
to
egg.
do. Bread in your mailbox. Yeah. Look at, I'm here at mom's. And so she says, you can make some bread in your mailbox. You sure can.
Yep.
so so
Yeah.
you guys, thank y'all for tuning in today. We appreciate you watching. Today's topic is relationships, and do you have a good relationship with yourself? We can try to be have good relationships with others, but if we don't have one with ourselves, then typically our relationships don't last with other people. We got to start with yourself. What do you want to add to that, Dad?
Well, first, I want to say that Speaking Facts in 15 is brought to you by Kiss Wealth Now, taking care of all of your commercial and residential real estate needs. And so we gotta plug the sponsor. We don't want the sponsor pulling the plug. So,
That's right. I know.
but uh, but yeah, to have a good relationship with somebody else, you really got to have a good relationship with self, and to do that, you got to kind of identify self.
That's right.
We especially in today's world, we're very please the flesh. We're very flesh driven to please the flesh, but the
Right.
flesh isn't self. It's the car that self gets around in.
That's right.
So having being at peace with oneself, being having knowledge of who you really are. Like I said, knowledge of true self, and being
Right.
at peace with true self. Because after you have knowledge of self, you have to have acceptance of self, so that you can
That's
have
right.
peace. If you have peace, you can have joy, and if you have joy and you have peace, those are things that you can share with somebody else.
Exactly. And I'm so glad you said joy and peace, because part of having a good relationship with yourself is realizing that joy is important. It is so important just to have that. And part of that joy and appreciating yourself is actually caring for your needs, whatever those are. You
Yes,
know,
yes. Taking time to love yourself enough to listen to yourself and take care of yourself. That's where the flesh comes
right.
into it. The flesh wants to be healthy,
That's
but
right.
it breaks it down into I want to feel good.
That's
Now
right.
the flesh can want to. The flesh is the flesh borrows from Malcolm by any means necessary. It does, meaning meaning that the flesh, if it says, well, you did this and that felt pretty good, so let's go do more of that. The flesh
That's
doesn't
right.
doesn't think about what's happening to it. It just thinks about how it feels when you do something.
Exactly. And I was like, okay, so I was asked a question yesterday. A person said, why are you working out? Like, what are you doing it for? Like, what's the end goal? And I'm like, well, I do it for myself. I do it. I'm not going to go run a marathon tomorrow,
No.
but if I want to, I could try, but I'm doing it for me. It makes me feel good. I'm focusing on my inner health, making sure my heart's healthy, my cholesterol. When you start getting more mature in life, those things just don't come as easy, right? But I focus on my inner world, and that means that making sure that I am healthy enough on the inside, so that way on the outside I'm able to do the things that bring me joy, that that allows me to care for my needs, you know?
Let me ask the host a question, because
Okay.
I don't know if everyone is aware, but you post something on the internet every day, and you'll send the
Yeah.
family text messages every day, and those are just always full of such life and such joy. So how do you, for those who might be listening and who are talking about having that positive relationship with self, how do you make sure that you start your day that way?
I'm so glad you asked me that question. So I start each day by realizing that I can only do one thing at a time. And I know that sounds silly, but it's simple, because when I get up, I know I got 1,000 things to do. But if I think about all those things all at once, I'm going to stress myself out. And I used to do that. So I get up in the morning and say, okay, Shaman, one thing at a time. And you got enough time to complete the things that you need to do. And you're going to do it joyfully, because I want someone to feel my energy. And if I can make someone else feel good, because I send them a message, family, the people I work with, hey, how you doing? Is it what are you going to eat for lunch today? Just some of the simple things, because those make a difference, because we don't stop and really take time to just appreciate just those little things. So um, I make sure that since I know I'm doing one thing at a time, I can get everything in versus canceling myself out. You know how they say sometimes you cancel
Uh-huh.
yourself out before you get started. So by me realizing, hey, I'm gonna do one thing at a time, and when I get that one thing done, I'm like, hey, I'm on to the next. Again, it's really cheesy, but it works and it helps, and I don't feel like um, I'm not approaching anybody else like I'm rushed, because I realize I got time.
Yeah, and I'll ask you one more question. How do you, because the things you're talking about doing, um, if you think of yourself as a well, then the things that you're doing, you're dipping into the well and taking out and watering the lives of others. So how
Uh-huh.
do you fill your well? How do you refill it?
Oh, I love, so I'm always reading. That's the morning time. I call it my beta planning period. So in the morning, I'm up early when the world is silent. I say, there's nobody pulling or grabbing at me. So then, therefore, I can share my truest thoughts, and I can really be vulnerable and transparent, because I'm looking for things that are going to fulfill my life. And if those things can fulfill me, then maybe they can fulfill others. I use that time in the morning when everybody else is asleep to make sure that I'm complete.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And same here. I get up early in the morning. I'm usually up by, as you know, because I'll send you emails sometime. I'm usually up 4:30. By definitely by 4:30.
Again,
Sometimes
the
earlier.
apple doesn't fall short from the tree, right? That's me. I get that from you.
Right. Because I need to spend that time, and I do need to spend that time in prayer and meditation.
Yeah. Oh, meditation is huge.
Yeah, in prayer and meditation, filling my well, so that when I dip into it, I know that what I'm pouring out is peaceful, is joyous, and
That's
that
right.
I have enough of that to get me through the day. You
That's
know,
right.
uh, um, and I do yoga in the morning as well, which is why even though I have to be at work 8:30, I get up at 4:30 because I do yoga as well. But I just make sure that mentally, physically, spiritually, that I'm ready for the day. You know,
Right. And I love that you said yoga, Dad. Don't I mean a question for you? When you complete your exercise, don't you feel like you can go conquer anything? Like there's not anything that you can't achieve. It's like,
I wish my mornings would last all day. Usually when I come out of those sessions, I really wish that I could just kind of stay there all day. Stay
right,
there. Doing yoga and meditating and all that. I really wish I could stay there all day. Yeah, I come
right.
out of there. I come out of there charged, and because I can see and feel the results of what I'm doing.
That's right. That's right. And it's huge. I know. I worked out this week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I took off today, and I'm gonna be doing yoga tomorrow. But when I get, I mean, now I'm normal human like everybody else. Before the workout, I'm just like, oh God, do I want to do it? you know, you're like, that song is playing in the background. You don't need no music. You need to hype your bestie up. I'm my bestie, okay? So I'm having to hype my own self up to go work out. But then when I get in there, I'm like, okay, let's do this. And when it's done, I feel so much better. And then, yeah, I love seeing the results. And I know I'm doing something good for me. And I can't tell you how many times people have text, emailed, or called and be like, how do you make time to exercise? But I just make the time.
Well, I was gonna say you make the time by making the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important. I got to pay myself first, and this that way I can do better by other people. I get to stay healthy.
Yeah, and another thing about a relationship, and I kind of want to focus on the ship part for a moment because
Okay.
if it's a passenger ship, if it's a pirate ship, if it's a relationship, they're all ending with the word ship.
Ship.
Now, I think it's very important to focus on that because what is a ship? A ship don't head in a different direction for everybody that's on board. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
First of all, a ship is in itself a unit, and it is heading one direction. It is heading the direction that the captain. It is heading in the course that the captain sets.
That's right.
And everyone on board works towards getting that ship to that goal.
That's right.
So when it comes to relationship with self, like the song says, I'm the captain, but sometimes I feel kind of sick. You know what I'm saying? But I am the captain of the ship, so I have the responsibility to make sure that this ship is heading in the right direction that's going to help it to be ultimately the best ship that it can be.
That's right.
Make sure that it stays on course. And
right, and we're going to stay above water. We're not going to fall down. We're not going to go down to those deep levels.
Oh yeah, no, we
like a submarine.
We want to make sure that our ship doesn't hit any icebergs because we don't want to end up like the Titanic. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're not going to visit. So that means that part of making sure that ship is going in the right direction is really allowing and practicing self-compassion. You have to be compassionate for yourself to know that you're going to get there eventually, whatever that time is. There's no set time. Everybody has their own timing, God's timing, whenever, but allowing yourself that compassion to know that that you're going to get there and be meaningful in knowing that. Don't just say, don't tell yourself, it's going to be okay, but then 2 seconds later you're beating yourself up. Really meaning and telling yourself it's going to be okay and having that compassion.
And and having a good healthy relationship with self also means being accountable to yourself and for yourself.
Right.
The quickest way to ruin a relationship with someone else is to view them in eyes that are different than you view yourself with when it comes to accountability. When it comes to accountability, the scale should be balanced. I should be looking at myself with the same eyes of accountability that I'm looking at anyone else with.
Right. And that means, and basically what you just said is, commitment, committing to yourself, committing to that one good habit, or maybe it's 2 good habits, whatever that commitment is, really following through with it. Because if you don't keep your word to other people, you know how that goes. So you need to keep that word to yourself to commit to that one good habit or 2 good habits, whatever it is. So therefore you're feeding yourself, and then you can reward yourself because of you're seeing the rewards for your effort, for you keeping your commitment to whatever that habit is.
And I'm glad you used the word committed, because being committed to being the best you, that is commitment. Because like you said, some days you don't feel like going to the gym. You get to the gym and it's like, no, but being committed to loving you, to being the best you, it helps. If you can do that, then you can show commitment and be committed to someone else.
And that, another thing about, loving yourself, and we've talked about this before on previous episodes with, family and things like that, but learning that you have to let go of your regrets and your past mistakes. You don't have to be bound by those things, So part of loving yourself is, realizing that those things happen, they are in the past, and you move forward, and don't compare yourself to other people. So I'm going to use example. And I'll be honest, I've had one before, a repossession. I wouldn't, gosh, maybe you never had one, but I wouldn't put myself down and say, oh, well, they never had one. I'm a bad person. No, don't compare yourself to other people. Realize that it's a marathon. You got a long race ahead of you, and there's no set time for you to get done.
No, there isn't, and heaven forbid, but if your race ended today, then it's over. And there's still nothing to regret. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
right.
Either way, as long as you're in the race, be in the race. Be in it with a passion, be in it with a purpose.
Right.
Be in the race so that you can be not just in the race, but be a runner. Be competing in the race for your life, for your
That's
existence,
right.
For your health. That's a race.
What song popped in my head, Dad? We fall down, but what happens?
We
get up.
We get up. That's right. We fall down, but we get up. We get back up. That's right. And pretty soon, we kind of learn to be the weeble, where we wobble, but we don't fall down.
That's right. And then the other thing about loving yourself, which is huge, and we talked about this, surrounding yourself, or it's one thing to put out those positive things to people, but you need to surround yourself with positive people, so therefore you can keep that energy going. Everybody knows a negative Nancy, but if you're around a negative Nancy every single day, it can rotten you, it can ruin you. So making sure to surround yourself with positive people, so that you can increase your positive emotions. So that's
right.
important.
That's right. And realizing that that's simply talking about relationship with self. And I started off with saying that starts with knowledge of self. Realizing that I am is really the two most powerful words in the universe.
That's right.
Because whatever you put after I am, that's what you are. And
That's
you're
right.
also saying, if you say I am blue, then you're also saying I'm not any other color in the universe. I am blue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you say I am something, and you put something behind the word I am, you're saying
Right.
what you are, but you're also saying all of what you're not.
That's true.
So we have to be careful with what because of the political climate and the social climate, I don't want to use the word, but I will use it anyway. We have to be careful with what we identify with.
Right.
What we identify as self. I am.
Right.
I am. And the only I am that I
Right.
use is being a follower of Christ. That's my I am.
Right.
Because it always gives me it always supports me in what I've done and gives me room
Right.
to grow and motivation to be better.
That's right.
But you have to be
Exactly.
really careful what you put behind the words I am, because that's going to dictate your thinking as well.
Right.
Because because no one wants to be crazy. So you're gonna, if you say I am this, then you're gonna start justifying and thinking to support.
Right. Justifying your actions of being crazy when you don't have to be that. Yeah.
That's right.
And so, and that's very true. So basically, I love what you said. It's I am. And sometimes just manifestation, right? Mom's in the background. You're manifesting. You're putting those things out there that you are, the things that you are going to be, and you never, and when you're praying, you don't want to, block your blessings because you're not asking or not realizing that there's so much that you can do there, that you are complete, you are 100. At church on Sunday, one of the things that the pastor was talking about, he had $100 bill, and I loved it. He had it and he crumpled it up, and he's like, but it's still $100 bill. He spit on it, but it's still $100 bill. He ripped it in half. No, he stepped on it. It was still $100 bill. He ripped it in half. It was still $100 bill. You just got to tape it back together. So realizing that the things that happen to us don't deduct from us. We're still complete. We're still 100. we're just advancing, and probably the biggest thing is setting those boundaries, so that people cannot deduct from you. They can't take away from the
Right.
100 that you are.
Right. And surround yourself with people that don't want to deduct from you, that want to add to you.
That's right.
I guess we're getting, we've been into ish for a few minutes.
Yeah, we have been in the ish, but we're gonna keep talking relationship, and you guys, and if we miss, and we're just grazing the surface. There's so many things to loving yourself, but we just wanted to have the topic, because mental health is definitely something that it's more than a hot topic. It's fire, and it needs to be talked about. So if we can touch one person that says, you know what, I'm setting boundaries today, or you know what, I'm gonna create that one habit today because I owe it to myself. I'm gonna keep my commitments to myself. I'm gonna love myself, embrace me.
Yeah. And speaking of mental health, we're gonna the next week or two we're gonna have a psychologist on that's going to be talking about mental health, especially for Black men, because we have to become leaders in our homes again. But in order to do that, we have to have our spiritual, mental, and physical health. And we definitely have to have our mental health. We have to be able to see things clearly and know where the enemy is, and know how to either go over it, go under it, or around it, or whatever. But we have to be able to have peace with ourselves. So I'm looking forward to having that guest on.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that too. Well, you guys, thank y'all for tuning in for both 2 and 4 Speaking Facts in 15. We love doing this, and anything you want to add to it?
Just saying, like the song says, if the sooner you give, the sooner you get to have a love of your own. So love yourself, because if you do, it's much easier to love somebody else.
That's right. Exactly. Well, we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye, y'all.